It's been 3 years since Technoblade passed, and considering how fast the internet moves these days, that's a friggin' long time ago. And it's heartwarming to know that, to this day and onwards, Technoblade's legacy still lives on. I've never really done a tribute to him, partly because, I never really found the right idea for it, but it's been 1095 days, and that in itself is a huge number. If there was only some vast quantity of something Technoblade did in his spare time, maybe something that may have won him a trilogy of wars, may have, I don't know, maybe defined him and his legacy for literally decades to come. Oh, wait a second, does that mean... Now, I think it's important to state that 1095 potatoes is not a lot of farming. I mean, heck, you'll find videos of people farming literally millions upon millions of a vast resource as a challenge. But they also have like millions upon millions of subscribers. I mean, the time they spend is kind of justified. Me? I'm a friggin' university student with thousands of dollars in student debts with tens upon tens of subscribers. So, farming 1,000 potatoes is pretty reasonable. That part was a lie, by the way. The student debt part, not the subscriber part, but I digress. So anyhow, after brainstorming a few ideas as to how I'd approach this challenge, I spawned into a new world and got to work. I got full stone tools and began exploring when I found a nearby village. I like to use wood for blocks as it gives you 4 wood per log, and it can be used as a fuel source, so I stole all the logs from a nearby farmer. I'm not usually one to steal crops from these guys, but I wondered if they planted a few potatoes, and what do you know, they do. This guy apparently traded with potatoes, but I kinda had to sell them to him, so I had no interest. And after scamming a second farmer of his potatoes, I had a total of 12 potatoes. Not a lot, but it was a start. I found a nearby river and planted my first few potatoes. I wanted to leave them there to grow as I found food from around the surrounding area, I guess. I found a few pigs and went to work. Until I realized I was hunting the wrong mob. So I decided to become a vegetarian and stole all the wheat from the villagers. Just kidding, I found some fresh steak along the way. By the time I revisited my farm, it hadn't grown much. So I decided to explore for an ancient city. Now you might be asking, Venice, what does an ancient city have to do with potatoes? Well, the answer is the enchanted diamond hoe. You see, ancient cities give maxed out hoes, so I wanted one to help speed up my farming process. So I dug down to see if I could find one. Now normally ancient cities are pretty hard to find, but I'm not playing vanilla Minecraft. I use mods. And among the many I have a map mod. So if I dig far enough down, I can see all the chunks I've rendered and maybe find an ancient city. But first, I needed diamonds, since I would probably do a lot of digging. I found a huge cave on my map, so I decided to head over there. I was using my stone pickaxe to mine deep slate, because I had a spare. And my mom always told me not to waste what you have. Until I randomly stumbled upon some diamonds. It wasn't in vain. So I wasted my pickaxes, crafted my shiny new diamond one, and dug down further to see if I could find an ancient city. I found a deep dark several hundreds of blocks away, so I decided to go and check it out. There was nothing. But I did find the rarest ore in the game on my way there, so I did the most natural thing. I mined it. Without silk touch. Nevertheless, after cranking my render distance up to 32 and strip mining for a long time, from the corner of my map, I was able to find what I was looking for. The ancient city. After mining to the surface, traveling to the coordinates, and taking a short break, I mined straight down until I entered the massive behemoth. Surrounded by so many freaking shriekers, I thought I was a goner. Fortunately, I crafted some shears, and using them, I mined the nearby wool. I grabbed 2 stacks and started searching my first chest, which had a diamond hoe. Not the one I was looking for, but I temporarily kept until I found a better one. And not long after, I did. Literally the perfect hoe too, because it had Fortune 3, which would help increase the amount of potatoes I got from mining with them. However, because I explored such a small part of the ancient city, I decided to explore its entirety for no reason other than it was fun. So, I spent the next 15 minutes exploring and actually came across a few good chests. Until I accidentally triggered my 4th streaker and summoned the warden. I had absolutely no armor except these weird pants I found in one of the chests, so I dipped as fast as I could. When I got back to my farm, I was pretty disappointed to see that pretty much none of the potatoes had grown. Well, maybe a little. Until I realized I had unrendered this area, so of course none of the potatoes would grow. But, I was still optimistic, because now that I had a Fortune 3 enchanted diamond hoe, I wanted to see if I could harvest any additional potatoes from my original 12. I did not. So, to lighten up the mood, I decided to set up a small base of operations and put most of my stuff in a chest, including the wool I mined. Don't worry, I've kept it for a reason, that'll come later. Once done, I decided to listen to some music, specifically the new disc I had grabbed from the ancient city. I made a jukebox, crafted the music disc, and took a listen. Yeah, not what I was expecting. But as I listened to it, I began to plan the rest of the challenge. I realized that if I kinda wanted to speed up the process even more, I had to get bone meal. And there so happens to be a place that has a ton of it. The Nether. I had already labeled the location of a nearby lava pool, so I hopped over to it and grabbed some obsidian. The thing is, I know how to make the portal the dream way, but I wanted to be able to go back and forth through the Nether without needing to walk 100 blocks. But just in case you think I was bluffing, I decided to make the dream Nether portal anyways. Gosh, I hate myself. When I finally made a successful Nether portal at my farm, I decided to go in and see what my spawn point looked like. It was actually pretty easy to navigate and rather peaceful, except for those like weird magma cubes that I'm pretty sure fell from the ceiling somehow. However, there was no sight of the Soul Sand Valley, which is where the fossils really generate. So naturally, I cranked my render distance all the way up to 32 again, and from the corner of my map, I could see the Soul Sand Valley biome. Great! I hopped back to the overworld and got ready for my expedition. Once done, I hopped back through the portal and immediately got myself a pair of gold boots so I wouldn't accidentally aggro the piglins. The walk to the Soul Sand Valley was pretty uneventful until I reached it, where I encountered a bastion. I ignored it since I didn't really have any use case for it and went straight to the Soul Sand Valley. After dispatching a lone skeleton, I immediately found a fossil. That was quick. As I mined more fossils, a lone skeleton just randomly decided to bully me. So I bullied him back. After gathering 50 bone blocks, which I estimated would be more than enough to complete the challenge, I found myself back at the bastion. Remember when I said I had no use case for it? Yeah, I lied. This was all part of the plan. See, even though I had a maxed out diamond hoe, you can always go one step further. When Technoblade wanted to win the potato war, he unlocked the 11th minion slot, which he knew was pretty stupid, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it mattered.
At this point, I had enough potatoes for my armor. I could have stopped. I could have put an end to this, but I thought, no. No, what if I went even further?
So to pay tribute to wasting material wealth, I decided to go for a netherite hoe, and the only place to get the upgrade template was a bastion. I didn't really want to mess with the piglin brutes, nor did I really want to aggro the nearby piglins by hitting them, because, remember, I have pretty much no armor. I knew a lava bucket would do the trick, so I exited the bastion, got some lava, and re-entered it. Taking care of the brutes with a lava bucket was pretty easy. Also, if the brutes look weird, it's because of this resource pack and this mod pack I'm using, so I'm sorry if it looks too Minecraft movie-ish, but it is what it is. It is what it is. After getting rid of a few brutes and a lonely piglin, I looted both chests and was able to get 2 ancient debris right off the spot, and a mending pickaxe. Pretty good, but no upgrade template. So I searched, and searched, and searched. The reason I initially dismissed this particular bastion is because I have no clue how to navigate it, nor do I know where any of the chests are located, so I knew I had to explore and get lucky. I was about to give up until suddenly, I found it. I was quite relieved because it meant I could leave and go back to the overworld where it was significantly safer. So after being bullied by a ghast, I made it back home. I immediately got to work, crafting a diamond shovel and began expanding my farm. Not as big as, say, Wreckrap 2's melon farms, but it was big enough for me, which in hindsight is still pretty small. Nevertheless, I began farming, placing all the potatoes I had on the dirt, bone mealing it and farming it with my Fortune 3 hoe. I was really getting into the groove of it, and by my first harvest, I was able to go from about 12 potatoes to 502, an insane leap. Motivated, I invested in my profits and began farming again, tediously placing every potato until it was fully ripe. After another 10 minutes of blood, sweat, and tears, I was able to amass a whopping 941 potatoes. Progress was going exceptionally well, as it seemed as though this challenge would be over within the next 10 minutes. Unfortunately for me, I was running out of bone meal. Fast. Like, super fast. I used the last of my bone meal on a small patch of farmland and prayed it was good enough. But when I did the calculations, it was not looking good. I had produced 1,014 potatoes, 81 short of 1,095. But it wasn't over. I couldn't give up this close to winning. So, as nightfall approached, I knew I had to make it count. I've been avoiding the night for pretty much the entire challenge, but not tonight. I needed skeletons, a lot of them, and there was no chance I was going to waste this opportunity to farm some more bone meal. Dispatching the skeletons was significantly easier than I expected. I mean, I was playing on easy mode and I had like prot 4 leggings, so I imagined they couldn't do much damage, but I was pretty surprised anyways. After accumulating a whopping 14 bone meal, I had mentally calculated that I had the exact amount of bone meal needed to complete the challenge. So I slept, traveled back to my farm, and began to plant the last potatoes I would ever need to plant. 1,092. Yes, 1,092. I wish I could say I scripted this, but I literally ended with 1,092 potatoes. 3 short of 1,095. I literally couldn't believe it. I was this close, yet so freaking far. I was losing my cool. Should I give up? Should I scrap the video and leave YouTube? Should I subscribe to Venice? Because we are so close to 161 subscribers, and you should hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload? No. No, I couldn't. I was too far into this challenge to quit now. But how on earth was I going to get those last 3 potatoes? As I spiraled into a mess of hopelessness, for a brief second my mind cleared. Long enough to snap out of disbelief and face my final challenge. There was one way I could possibly obtain those last 3 potatoes, and the answer was right in front of me. The Minecraft gods would not let me complete this challenge without using the greatest farming tool in all of Minecraft. I had gone to a lower dimension to obtain the 2 most important components to finish off this challenge. I had one, but now I needed the second. I needed ancient debris. I immediately got packing. This was the moment I waited for my entire life. 2 more ancient debris and this challenge was all mine. Remember that wool I told you would be useful later? Bam! That time had come. After packing enough explosive material to take down a freaking skyscraper, I headed down into the depths of the nether to mine the last bit of ancient debris I needed. I went down to a spot 15 blocks above the void and detonated my first bed. It was a direct hit. 1 more ancient debris and this challenge was over. However, my luck did not persist. After all, there is no success without hardship. And unfortunately for me, I had to learn that the hard way. I was tricked, I was backstabbed, and quite possibly bamboozled. I was this close to winning, and instead I lost everything. I lost my pickaxe, I lost my bed, and most importantly, I lost the hole. I was heartbroken. How was I gonna recover from this? I couldn't. I was in despair. It was all over. I mean, Minecraft YouTubers was able to farm millions of items, and here I was, struggling to produce even an iota of what they could. As I ran back to my farm, I took in the sounds of the rain falling beside me, and tried to calm myself down. And when I reached my farm, it hit me like a brick of walls. All men can see the tactics whereby I conquer, but what none can see is the strategy out of which victory is evolved. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. This is it, the final leg of the race. Either I win it all, or go down trying, but I had to try. I salvaged whatever I could from my chests, a pickaxe, beds, blocks, anything. When I thought I was ready, I went down one final time to reclaim what was rightfully mine. When I arrived at my corpse, the only thing left were a single ancient debris I mined, a bundle, and the conveniently untouched steak I had forgotten to pack with me. I was pretty lucky. This was it. One final piece of ancient debris and his GGEZ. We're in the endgame. I went to work, blowing off every alleyway I could find. If this direction didn't work, frick it, let's try the other one. Too much lava? I don't care, let's try another one. I began using up my explosives left, right, and center. I ran out of them at one point and had to go back and grab more material. Right then and there, I made the choice to full send. I crafted every explosive bed I could make and decided not to craft another diamond pickaxe. If I was gonna win, it was gonna be on my own terms. I began exploding as much netherite as I could, but it wasn't working. In despair, I looked up in vain to see if the Minecraft gods could please offer me just a little bit of luck, just enough to keep me motivated. And they did. My pleas for help were heard. I had found the final piece of ancient debris I needed. I mined it and the other one right next to it. I had apparently been awarded an extra piece for my adventures. I rushed back and began smelting. This was it. After crafting a smithing table, the netherite ingot, and a fancy new hoe, I was ready. You could not have chosen a better name for this enchantment. As the sun set, I planted my last potatoes and packed my stone sword to kill the final skeleton I'd need to complete this challenge. We had really come full circle. When nightfall arrived, I pounced like a cat at the first skeleton I saw. I may have had a little hiccup, but I managed to escape with my life. With the final 2 bones in my inventory, I rushed back and slept. Today was going to be a very special day. I bone mealed 2 of the 4 potatoes I had set. Realistically, even without Fortune 3, I knew this had to be it. It just had to. Using the netherite hoe, I mined the last potatoes and did the tally. I had gained 10 potatoes from my original 4, which meant one thing. I had 1,098 potatoes. I had done it. I removed the extra 3 so there were exactly 1,095 potatoes in the chest. I had successfully honored Technoblade the only way I could. 1,095. At this point, I could have stopped recording and called it quits since the challenge itself was completed. But that didn't feel right, knowing I had farmed all these potatoes and left them in a chest to waste away. Remember, my mom told me to never waste what I had. It took a while, but when it was finally done, it was definitely worth it. Technoblade meant a lot to me and to a lot of people, and he was one of my biggest inspirations to start making Minecraft videos in the first place. I know this isn't exactly a tribute, but I think he'd be happy knowing people are still planting potatoes in Minecraft under his name. We can all say this together, folks. Technoblade never dies.